congratulations to Codemasters for their fine work. But let's get back into the lobby and see if we can catch the end of that race. Apologies that you've had to hop from stream to stream, but we are back up straight away here. Unless something really dramatic has happened, Ariel Giron is going to be your sprint race winner. Let's have a look as they cross the line. There we go, Giron wins from Car Mentalist. Cortez, after a frantic start, ended up climbing quite a low key P3. Loco 5 HD is in 4th, Mark is in 5th. That's quite some fascinating early battles early on. Chill 6th, Larkin recovered from 7th for what I would like to say is his error, but I'm not too sure about that one. I need to see it again. That Scream is in 8th, Ben JS is in 9th, Heated 10th. Nathan ends up recovering to 11th. Emily Tope is in 12th, Campbell in 13th. B. Morgan's retired on the last lap from P14, so Dari, Ibo and Jordan will be Nolan and Verstappen also failing to finish. Bizarre incident involving QVR Verstappen where he got collected by another car after hitting the curb too much at Lesbo 2. We've got Jordan with a penalty here, not penalty, a puncture here, but he has got a penalty as well. Spins and the carcass of the tyre shreds off the rim, and he'll limp home across the line in last place. We've already got 4 viewers on the new stream. We love to see it. I love your excitement and enthusiasm for everything going on here. As Jordan reverses across the line in style, 3 wheels on his wagon, and completes our finishes. Driver of the day for Dascream, and I wouldn't disagree because he avoided all of that midfield battling and somehow dragged his way through from the back of the field to P8. 18th to 8th, just by avoiding other people's dramas. But there we go. I don't avoid other people's drama, I live for it. All about the me. Giron wins from P5 on the grid. Car Mentalist with that penalty and ended up, he was overtaken on track anyway, drops to P2. Cortez from 9th to 3rd. Luke finishes where he started in P4. Mark ended up gaining 1 place in the end. He ends P5. Chill, another big gain. He finishes P6. Larkin, also where he started in P7. The Scream in 8th. Ben JS in 9th. Heated in 10th. Nathan 11th. Ended up losing 1 place, but had quite a lonely race. All things told with his front wing damage. Tote in 12th. Campbell in 13th. Dari 14th. B. Morgan 15th. Ibo 16th. Jordan 17th. Nolan 18th. Verstappen 19th. Those last 2 found to finish, as did B. Morgan. So that was an interesting race for the championship in that absolutely nothing happened. Misfortune befell all of them, and there was an open door there, an open goal for Campbell to take the lead of the championship, but in typical Scottish fashion, he missed an open goal because they're not very good at football, and I can't think of a good analogy for Verstappen. But he bottled that like the Dutch tend to bottle their World Cup and European Championship qualifying campaigns in the last decade. So we've got another dry race, 2 dry races after having a wet qualifying session, and this is the features. So drivers can decide they have a free choice of tyre and have a mandatory pit stop to make, which they can't make within the first 3 laps of the race or under a virtual safety. So we'll see what the mix of traditional soft medium versus medium soft Altstrats will be. It's going to be Nathan and Cortez on the front row, Campbell in 3rd. Verstappen, of course, invalidating quality. It's been a miserable event for him so far. He's down to P14. Look at that flag waving from the marshals there, perfectly in unison. It's almost as if they're the exact same character model with an animation set. So let's have a look at tyres. Everybody on the softs apart from Verstappen and Ben JS. Verstappen will help to go long, overcut some people, get involved in the action, maybe hope for a safety car later on as Cortez nearly runs into the back of Nathan. This happened last week. Cortez was driving way too close to Campbell and then ended up hitting the back of him, getting a 5-second penalty and some front wing damage. Am I surprised that he's doing it again? Absolutely not. He takes the lead of the formation lap because he can't control himself. And he must be hyperactive. Had too many E numbers as Shazoo Cortez. Actually, he drives for Shazoo. Tells you everything you need to know. Larkin and Mark 4th and 5th start together once again. I think both had reasonable races in the sprint. Larkin was just a bit unlucky with his moment into Parabolica. And we've got Cortez has spun. His E numbers have caught up with him. He hits the wall on the other side of the track. Everyone flies past. And Cortez needs a timeout on the naughty step, I think, after this formation lap. Far too excitable. And Nathan resumes control in the car, in number 5 Carlin from Campbell's number 9 Teo Porcher ART. As Nathan collects the DHL sign there. Clearly not a fan of international logistics and delivery companies. He's more of a FedEx man. Doesn't like DHL at all, as evidenced by his commitment to running over the advertising hoardings. You can't take all of them, as you can see from all the massive DHL signs there in the back of your screen. It's a fruitless effort for Nathan as the AI takes control of the car, and they're going to pull through now to line up on the grid. I'm going to predict a Nathan Campbell 1-2. In which order? I'm not too sure. I'm going to say Larkin for 3rd. On the evidence of the formation lap, I'm not expecting Cortez to get much further than turn 5. But we shall see. That's what we live for. We live to be surprised. But we had quite the variety in the finishing order last race in the sprint. And they say variety is the spice of life, but with the qualifying order here, I think we're set for a return to normality with Nathan on pole, Campbell in 3rd, last week's feature race winner Cortez in 2nd, and P5 man in the championship Larkin in 4th. But we'll catch the progress of Verstappen out of place down in P12, of course. It's going to be the Monza sprint race, feature race, and we are underway with those 5 lights out, and it looks like a pretty even Steven start up front. Cortez pulls to the right hand side of the track. Immediately, for some reason, Campbell leaps into P2. Larkin's going to follow him through, tucks the slipstream. Larkin pulls to the outside. Is he going to send it all the way around? Nathan has safely been unchallenged through the first corner. Larkin does get past Cortez. He's lost a couple of places off the start. It's Nathan Campbell up front. Larkin into P3. My prediction is coming true. In the background, we've got Girone and Mark side by side through Curva Grande, and I think Girone's just come out of that one on top. Our sprint race winner already in P5 is on set for another good result. Mark had another look as Cortez fancies one up the inside of Larkin. There's nothing going there, but then Larkin's slow off the exit. The Roger chicane. Is Cortez going to send this into left 1? He is. Well, I think Larkin wisely saw that coming. He left a lot of room, then gives Cortez a massive swipe between the two Lesmos. Cortez is pinched up against the curb, struggles for a bit of traction, then nearly does what Verstappen did and what he himself did in the last race. Now it's a drag race all the way down to Ascari. We've got Luke and Carmentelis side by side as well. They're 2 by 2 almost, with Girone tucked in the middle of this battle. Cortez tries to go up the inside into Ascari, forces Larkin over the Astro, and he gets the move done. Larkin has to back out of the throttle and nearly losing it there on the exit of Ascari, but he's got a chance now to get his own back on Cortez towards turn 1. All this is just letting Campbell and Nathan get away. We've got Mark up the inside of Girone now. I wonder if Girone got a little shove wide because he went very deep through Parabolica. Those two are going to drag each other down towards turn 1 up front. The end of the first lap. Look at the slipstream Campbell's got. I don't know where to look here. Well, look at this battle we've got for P3 into the lead. Campbell is going to pull out towards turn 1, and I think he's ahead by the rigging zone. And he is. Nathan unchallenged in turn 1 last lap. Not so this lap. The ART is through, and further behind, Cortez still leads Larkin, still leads Girone. Mark's dropped down to P7 in that. He's having a drag race with, that is Luco 5HD all the way through Curva Grande, with side-by-side action on here. And I think Luke's got the inside line for De La Roche, but Mark's going to have the quicker line around the outside. Who's going to run who out of room? I think Mark is just going to force Luke over to the curb, and indeed he does. But now look at Carmentelis now has got the inside for Lesmo 1. Beautifully played from Carmentelis. 2 places for the price of 1. He's through on Mark, and a bit of a horror show for Mark. He's opened a couple of laps, but Cummins had a little mistake there. Just a whiff of a chance, I think, coming for Mark towards Ascari. We've got a yellow flag. Let's get the track back up now. The first lap is out of the way. That is Emily Tope that's had a drama at Lesmo 2. There's no sign of any change in the positions this part of the lap, but I'm sure it will when we come towards turn 1. The field's already splintered a little bit. B. Morgan 2 seconds off those that squabble ahead of him. And there goes Giroune out the inside of Larkin into Parabolica. Larkin knows not to fight the inside of Parabolica this time, but then he cuts underneath Giron in the Charoux, I want to say. And once again, we've got a drag race all the way down to turn 1. I think these guys will be on running even setups, but it's just a case of who's braver on the brakes towards turn 1. Larkin switches to the outside. He wants to carry that higher line so he can take more speed into the apex of the corner. Nothing doing. Giron is too wide. So that, as David Croft would say, he's a seasoned campaigner. And Giron holds off on P4 up front. Campbell and Nathan split by 1/4 of a second, and we are going to see some DRS in effect this lap. And we've got the Screams retired at the back out of turn 2. That's an odd one. We've got a virtual safety car. No mandatory pit stops can be made under the VSC, even well everyone has passed the pit lane by now. But no pit stops can be made, so it's not a full. So you can't make your change of tyres under these conditions. Nobody can. It won't count as the mandatory stop, and that denied Nathan the chance to have an assault on Campbell into Ascari with DRS. This would have been the first DRS zone of the race. As it is, we'll have to wait for the main straight. Maybe later we get a particularly long VSC. These two have really broken away up front. Cortez 2.4 seconds behind, but in fact it was a very short DRS zone, and it caught Campbell right in the middle of Ascari, which is probably the worst place on track I can think of. Nathan gained a few hundreds through there. Cortez goes off at Ascari, as is his custom this race. Those too much sugar for Cortez today, absolutely. He just can't control himself out on track. But Nathan, within half a second, we come through Parabolica for the 3rd time. He's got DRS for the 1st time in this race. He's already within 4 tenths. I think Campbell can have nothing to defend with here. Cortez speeds into pit lane. Giron speeds into pit lane. I wonder if Giron was just following Campbell, and Nathan, well, taking all the fun out of my evening, doesn't want to overtake Campbell. Happy to wait until later in the race when some pit stops come. Is conscious probably of their advantage over the rest of the field and doesn't want to make to slow them down by tripping over each other. Luke has passed Mark into turn 1. He's up into 5th now. Luke running 2 really solid races so far today. But let's have a look if we've got any other battles further. We've got Dari versus Heated through Curva Grande here, and Heated's got a nice run on the Red Bull livery car. No idea which one it is. There's too many of them. Red Bull need to curb their enthusiasm when it comes to their liveries in the junior formulae. We have no idea which cars they are. Verstappen's recovered to 8th place, albeit with the caveat of a couple of pit stops. Further ahead, we've still got this. We've had some great battles today from these 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th sort of positioning. And we've got a DRS chain here from Luke all the way down to Ben JS. Carmichael is having a good go at it as well. Up into P4 after starting down in 10th place. He's hanging on to the back of Larkin nicely, these two, with a bit of free air now to stretch their legs, and a good advantage over those behind them. Luke will not be feeling quite as comfortable. He's got Ariel Mark in very close company, 2 tenths of a second through Parabolica as Nathan sits fast lap of the race. Is he going to have a go this lap? Let's have a look. Not content to wait for another lap. Nathan is going to go for it into turn 1. He had much more speed, confidently able to get ahead by the braking zone, made the apex nicely, got the car slowed down, turned in, and didn't leave room for a retaliation from the Scotsman, from the championship rival behind him. We saw a penalty for speeding in the pit lane there from, I'm not sure who it was, I'll be honest with you. We've got some pit stops. Larkin coming, there's Luke all in. So that promotes Mark now into P3, but he's 7.5 seconds detached from the leader. Verstappen's into P4, he's got B. Morgan behind him. B. Morgan had a look right and left and nearly scared Verstappen into going over those orange curbs, but B. Morgan thought better of it, but he's hounding HWA, or he was. I mean, he did retired on the exit of the La Rogier chicane. I say HWA, I'm just going to keep up guessing what any of these cars are. This is HWA, I was right. Good for me. When I said HWA earlier, I meant high-tech. We got a safety car, a full-core safety car, and how do you fancy your luck if you are Shazoo, Cortez, Ariel Giron, XL Larkin, or Ariel Carmencliffe? The only plus side is those guys who've got 5-second penalties can serve them, but they're all royally, what's the word I can use? Well, they're screwed. They've pitted, they've jumped the gun, they've done a Sergio Perez at Jeddah, and pitted far too early. Nathan comes into pits, Campbell comes into pits. It's going to be an interesting restart to see how Nathan plays that one. Mark is going to come in. Verstappen is going to come in. This has helped Verstappen massively. He's going to leap up the order here. B Morgan's in, Ben Jess is in, Darry's in. Why am I saying everyone's in? Everybody is in. And there's no reason for anybody to stay out in these circumstances. They're just going to get their mandatory stops done. The first person who has already pitted is Cortez, and Cortez is still nowhere near Parabolica. It's going to be a long road, and of course he's been held to a delta as well, so he's restricted how fast he can go. And you can see that Nathan Campbell on the minimap already out of the pits. Mark is as well. It's going to be quite close with I think Ben JS and Darry. I think we're no longer held to a delta, so Cortez just nips ahead of his HWA teammate Verstappen. In fact, where's Verstappen with Jeroen? Jeroen's through on Verstappen. Verstappen, he gained big, but he dropped down to P6. He would have hoped he could have just held on to those places from Jeroen and Cortez. The plus side is they both have 5-second speeding penalties, but that doesn't help Verstappen in the short term. He needs to get on level terms with Nathan and Campbell up front, because he is running the softer tyres. So he can get through those guys, he can get through Mark. He would be right in the battle for this win from a position of anonymity, really, after qualifying. We've got a very close. We've got Chill passing Jordan through turn 2 there. Not too sure what was going on, but we shall see. We've got Ibo in P50. Not mentioned Ibo today. I wonder if he is going to jump out of Tope and Luke's way into turn 1 as he did last week at Russia. Hopefully not. We want to see elbows out Ibo, aggressive Ibo, because aggressive Ibo is a terrorist to race against. Oh, and we've got safety car in this lap. That caught me by surprise. I was having a sip from my drink there. No one's caught up yet, but we've got safety car in this lap. It's only been out for 2 laps, and usually it'll stay out a third if people haven't caught up. But we've got safety car in this lap, and we like that because we get more racing. Let's have a look at Cortez. It'll be fun to go on board with Cortez in these situations, because he won't be able to stop himself from trying to spook those ahead of him. Mark weaving across the track, trying to give as little incentive as possible for Cortez to go alongside. But believe me, it's Cortez, he will try it. Nathan really sweeping in big motions across the track, telling Campbell, this track is mine. Where's he going to go? If I was him, I'd go here, mid-corner in Parabolica. But he's going to leave it to the line. But the trouble, the later you go, the more predictable you make yourself as to when you're going to go. Campbell's just going to go straight. He's not going to weave. He's just going to wait and tuck into that slipstream as soon as it becomes available. Where is Nathan going to go? We're coming up to pit entry now, and he's gone. In fact, Nathan has caught Campbell napping a little bit there. We've got Cortez and Jeroen side by side. Nathan's weaving to break the toe. Jeroen's going to get through on Cortez. In fact, Campbell's looking very vulnerable here. He's got a horde of cars behind him. I can't even pick where they're out through the haze, but Campbell just about defends his position. Mark is through. Nathan's gone straight on at the first chicane. He's held onto the position, but is Campbell going to come around the outside of Curva Grande? I think he is all the way around the outside. That is fabulous from Campbell, but critical error from Nathan, and not the first one we've seen in recent weeks. Cortez is now 3rd. B Morgan's up to 4th. Verstappen's just begging something to happen. Nathan's gone straight on again at the second chicane. He's missed his braking point for the second time. He's lost a place to B Morgan. Is he going to lose a place to Cortez? He is indeed. And look at Verstappen around the outside now on the soft tyres. This is critical stuff for the championship. Verstappen passes Nathan. Larkin passes Nathan down to P6. I didn't think he could mess up more than he did at Jeddah at the end of the feature race, but he's done it again. Nathan's made 2 big errors, and my first instinct is, with how competent Nathan is, that they were probably, I don't know, maybe just not paying attention, or maybe they were deliberately trying to create something of an exciting race. But he's gone down into P6. Campbell's already broken DRS up front. The critical question now is, can Verstappen get past Cortez? He's not really close to the back of his teammate right now, but if he get past Cortez on those soft tyres, he should dispatch B Morgan in rapid succession. And, well, if he can do that, he'll be back onto the back of his QBR teammate in no time at all on those better tyres. Let's look at Nathan attacking Larkin towards turn 1. Ben Jess and Carl Menflis also side by side. In fact, Cortez and B Morgan, and we've got another car has gone straight on at turn 1. This time it's Cortez, and Cortez has gone. He's got a 5-second penalty for corner cutting, and he's collected himself in the grass. Nearly took Verstappen with him. Luckily, he was ghosted. That's put Verstappen into P3. He does now need to get a shift on through this next sequence of corners and get into B Morgan's DRS zone. And Campbell had made a mistake through turns 1 and 2 as well, because B Morgan was a second behind, now 4/10 of a second. So there's still absolutely a chance that Nathan or Verstappen could win this race, or even B Morgan as well. He won the sprint, last time out at Russia. So he's used to winning races lately in F2. Jerome gets a penalty speeding in the pit lane, and he never retires from second. We've seen a lot of speeding pens today. Few of them have been served with the SC, but Campbell was looking comfortable after the restart. Not so anymore. But, oh, and a big slide from Larkin there. He's going to let Nathan have a look around the outside of Ascari, but it's too narrow to take two side by side through there. But it's given Nathan a nice slipstream towards Ascari. Is Nathan going to show Larkin how you go up the inside of the Parabolica here? Well, Larkin leaves in more room than I think Larkin was afforded in the previous race, and Larkin will be wanting, I think, just to sit behind Nathan and follow him through, I'm sure. DRS is enabled. In fact, not. Larkin's got back into the slipstream. He's going to pull out here. Have a look. He's going to take the outside line towards turn 1 where he can brake later, carry that bit more speed. Pinch Nathan up against the apex traps, up against that orange sausage curb. But no, Larkin not looking for a fight and lets Nathan go. Cortez retires from the session. Well, he lasted longer than I thought he would, but he still didn't finish the race. So I'm going to take that one as a victory. Verstappen is now into DRS on the back of B. Morgan, 8 tenths per second. B. Morgan very close to the back of Campbell as well. Campbell has not got this race sewn up at all. And Nathan only 1.6 seconds behind. Nathan can still get in on this and can still beat Campbell in this race. Although both Nathan and Larkin there taking excursions over the sausage curb. Did Larkin more damage than it did Nathan, because Larkin's going to drop out of DRS, and that will leave him very vulnerable to a super sub, Ariel Carmentalist, who's joining F2 for the first time this season. Now his one hub ACC season has finished, or I think that's 3 easy. Let's go back to the lead. 1.1 second splits all of them. B. Morgan in a very good position to win his first feature race of the season. He gets very out of shape through the last part of Ascari. And look at, here we go, what am I saying, Cortez? Verstappen through into P2. But crucially, Verstappen too far back from Campbell for some DRS. B. Morgan's got a great chance here to take this place right back off the HWA driver. Penalty for Nathan in that. That could be massively costly. I say it could be. It will be. It surely will be. Because Nathan and Carmentalist are sitting nicely and pretty within 3 seconds right now. Here comes B. Morgan past Verstappen with his DRS. We've got another side-by-side in the background. That is Ben JS is having a look at Carmentalist, who's having a look at Larkin. We've got Tope up the inside of Mark as well there into turn 1. Nicely done from Tope in the high-tech. That's what I called the HWA earlier. I will never forgive myself, actually. I will sleep very easily tonight. Nobody cares. Here comes Carmentalist through the Curva Grande with side-by-side right now, side of Larkin, but not fancy to move up the inside of the head organiser of F1 there. Not fancy causing a collision, and backs out, waits for some DRS, which will be very forthcoming towards Ascari. Further ahead, Verstappen's going to have another go at B. Morgan here, 3 tenths per second. This is letting Campbell get away crucially. He has managed to rebuild that lead that he initially had the first lap after the SC. So we'll see how well he holds on to it if Verstappen does get through B. Morgan. Verstappen will be very frustrated here. He knows he's in a position to win this race from nowhere as well, from 12th on the grid. He just needs to break through B. Morgan as Nathan goes very wide in the background there at Ascari. That'll be a warning. I am certain of it. I'm actually not certain. No, Codemasters, here comes Carmentalist as well. He's going to have another crack at Larkin towards the first corner. And we are just in a bit of a holding pattern right now with some of these battles that we've got out on track. Verstappen not quite close enough to B. Morgan on the last lap. Might well be this lap. It's 2 tenths per second as we cross the start line towards the braking zone of turn 1. Verstappen pulls to the extreme side. He cannot afford to sit behind B. Morgan for another lap. But B. Morgan's later on the brakes, braver on the brakes. And again, he's just able to cover Verstappen off confidently. Just pats him away. And we've got Tope, that was, across the apex of the first corner. Darry having a big slide as well on the exit of turn 2, as Carmentalist has passed Larkin into turn 1 and all that as well. I'm surprised that Verstappen's not being more aggressive here, given he's got Nathan of all people behind him. He needs to make big points gains on Nathan. He'll know Nathan has a penalty, but equally B. Morgan doesn't, which is just some gimme points for Verstappen in the championship, because the championship lead as it is very much on course to change hands. Campbell's going to have a nice lead, bigger than Nathan had coming into this round as it stands, leading it. So into Ascari we go for the 11th time. Verstappen is closer than he was the last lap. It's 2 tenths per second, but still not close enough to make a move. He lost some time through Ascari, now stretched, fallen to half a second, and I'm not sure that's close enough based on what we saw the last lap for Verstappen to make a move into turn 1. The other big battle is directly behind these guys. It's Aiden, Car Mentalist, leading Larkin and Ben JS. We've got 2 scraps going on right now. Big one for P2, big one for P4. And I think Larkin is going to get a move done even as before we even get to the DRS line. He's side by side pulling out, and he is ahead safely by the braking zone. He's going to pull away a little bit more with that extra DRS. Again, Verstappen can't do anything on B. Morgan. Not fancying a lunge up the inside. He's not got a straight line speed on B. Morgan, even with the DRS, even with a 0.4 second gap, to get anything done. I'm very surprised that those softs aren't giving Verstappen the confidence he needs to get the move done, and Nathan is just having to sit behind this, hoping for a collision between these two. Campbell maintaining his gap at 1.6 seconds, and that Larkin coming to us back. I think that's going to just trade places all the way to the end of this race, because they both seem very evenly matched right now in these F2 cars. Ben JS hanging on the back of it as well, but he's got a penalty. It's a 3-second penalty. All our 5-second penalties that we've seen today have been served or retired. So 1.2 seconds now, though, is the gap from B. Morgan to QVR Campbell. Campbell still not out of the woods with just over 3 laps to go, but I'm going to say this is the make or break lap. Verstappen needs to get past B. Morgan this lap, or I think he's lost any chance of getting on the back of Campbell. Those tyres will be starting to scream a little bit under him. The softs past their best. He's not been able to capitalise. He got past Cortez very quickly. Wasn't able to get past B. Morgan. I thought, to be honest, Verstappen wouldn't have a problem cutting through this medium traffic, but a bit disrespectful to be all calling traffic, but Verstappen has got the overspeed now. Is he going to send it into turn 1? No, he's not. He can't afford to, but Car Mentalist is ahead of Larkin into the braking zone, and Ben JS is up the inside of these guys as well. Car Mentalist sends it deep into turn 1, just about covers off the apex of 2, and with the slipstream, it's not 2,000 F2 cars, so he'll face no threat into the Delaroche chicane, but we'll see about Ascari. Here goes Verstappen, though. He has got a move done. He had a move on. He's got a move done on B. Morgan into the Delaroche, and Nathan's going to slip through here as well, I think. Verstappen got very out of shape, just lost control a little bit through the middle of the corner, and had to nearly lost the place up. He had to park the car in the middle of the track so that B. Morgan had nowhere to go. And I just left the Prima so vulnerable to Nathan, and they've both got DRS, but has Nathan got more speed, more confidence towards Ascari? Finally, these medium tyres for B. Morgan letting go a little bit. It's 1.7 between Campbell and Nathan. We know take there. Larkin repasses Car Mentalist. That move was done through the Delaroche chicane, and then Larkin pulled it back towards Ascari, but you can see Car Mentalist has got better straight line speed towards Parabolica now. Got a yellow flag in the background. That is Mark that's come a cropper on the exit of Ascari, and I don't think B. Morgan is close enough to challenge Verstappen, so with 2 laps to go, Verstappen looks to have secured P2 here, but same company set for P3, with Nathan still looking to make a move. And the thing for Nathan is we need to be wary of is these two, as Car Mentalist passes Larkin, returning the favourite moves happening. Look at Ben JS as well. He's going to make it 3 wide towards turn 1. Can Ben JS make a double move? No, he has to back out of it. Larkin gives Car Mentalist a tap in all of that. Tote passes Ben JS. Ben JS was looking like he was going to make an overtake on Larkin and ended up losing a place to Tope. I think that move from Larkin to the outside of the track just spooked him a little. Larkin's got such a massive toe here through turn 3 though, but he sensibly waits for the DRS. It's going to come through Lesmo 1 and 2. Comments goes a little bit deep. I think Larkin's going to have a straighter line, a quicker line out of the chicane. He's going to gain a little bit here. He's got to hold it through Lesmo 1. Can't make any mistakes. Car Mentalist, I think, got a better apex. And the gap will sit at 3/4 tenths of a second as we come through Lesmo 2. Larkin's going to have one opportunity, I think, and it's going to be turn 1 on the last lap of the race. B. Morgan is sitting in Verstappen's DRS, and that is doing him a massive favour to keep Nathan behind. Nathan still very marginal as to whether he's going to get ahead of Car Mentalist and Larkin. It's 2.1 seconds to Car Mentalist, 2.4 rather, to Larkin. So I don't think Nathan's going to get this unless he can get past B. Morgan. It's going to be 6th place for Nathan right now, 1 and 2 for his 2 main championship rivals. A cracking race from Verstappen, a fortuitous safety car, but he's really grabbed this race by the scruff of the neck and hauled himself into a contentious position. Fastest lap for Nathan at 29.4, but he can't do anything because B. Morgan is sitting pretty in Verstappen's DRS zone. Nathan is going to have to be content here for P3. 6 right now. Larkin gets back past Taupe, and in fact, Taupe got past Carmentis as well, and then got very out of shape through turn 2. I'm struggling to know with all these battles that we've got going on. The battle for 5th and the battle for 2nd. Is Aidan going to have a look up the inside of Larkin towards the turn 4? No, he's not on this occasion. He has, well, we've not seen too many overtakes to Ascari, but he is going to have one last opportunity. That will be that. Same goes for Nathan, really, but he's half a second behind. He's not going to make any kind of time up here. So I think it's as you were up front. The only change we might see is between the P5, Larkin, Carmentis, Taupe even. Taupe is 1.5 seconds, 1.5 tenths behind Carmentis, but it's such a short braking zone into Ascari. You lose so little time, but Carmentis went really deep there into the first part of Ascari. Larkin goes really wide on the exit of Ascari. Taupe's going to tuck into Carmentis' slipstream. It's 10th of a second. B. Morgan passes Verstappen. Verstappen must have got really out of shape through Ascari, and catches a tank slapper. Nathan nearly hits the back of him, goes around the outside. It's going to be B. Morgan for P2. Campbell wins the feature race. It's going to be a drag to line with Nathan. Verstappen, B. Morgan is second. Nathan takes third on track. Verstappen inherits it on the podium. In fact, it's Larkin in 4th. Taupe and Carmentis had a drag race to the line. Taupe nabbed 5th. Carmentis was 6th. Nathan down to 7th in the end there. Ben JS in 8th. He fell back from that battle quite substantially on the last lap. As you know, he had a 3-second penalty. Forgive me, he did not. Chill in 9th. Luke in 10th. Jordan 11th. Mark 12th. Dari 13th. Ibo 14th. Just Nolan is going to come home in 15th. And last, Cortez, Jerome, heated, Scream, DNF'd. There was a lot to unpick that last lap. I think we just saw a calamity, a trilogy of errors really going through Ascari. Verstappen must have made some kind of mistake we didn't see, because he was well ahead of B. Morgan down that straight approaching the chicane, and then suddenly found himself side by side with the Prima towards Parabolica and just didn't want to fight it. When he did fight it, he fought it half-heartedly and nearly got spun around by the contact model. Then Larkin went really deep at Ascari, and then Carmentis got out of shape in the first part of Ascari, going really deep, and that's what gave Taupe half a sniff towards Parabolica to get that move done on the way to the line. Half a tenth in the end between those two. But it's Campbell who wins, and it's Campbell who takes the championship lead here. In the F2 championship, he has inherited it from Nathan, who had that disastrous safety car restart, went straight on at turn 1, and then went straight on at turn 4. I'd love to know what actually happened there, but it cost him dearly, because he ended up 7th overall from pole position. B. Morgan went from 19th to 2nd in that race. Fabulous recovery. Sprint race winner last week. P2 in the feature this week from 19th on the grid. Verstappen also, huge result for him. 12th to 3rd after a disastrous race weekend, or week up to that point, with the poor qualifying invalidation and then the DNF in the sprint. Larkin was 4th. Again, where he started. Taupe in 5th. Carmentis 6th. Lost that place on the line. Nathan 7th. Ben JS 8th. Chill 9th. Luke 10th. Then Jordan, Mark, Dari, Ibo, Nolan, Cortez, Jerome, Heated, and Scream. Cortez having a bit of a madness. And that one in the Scream, our sprint race driver of the day, ended up being the first to DNF in the feature. So, the championship takes another twist with 2 races to go. We've only got Belgium and Bahrain remaining, and it's now QVR Campbell in the lead up front. Verstappen will have gained on Nathan overall as well, because Nathan wouldn't have scored in the sprint despite Verstappen's DNF, so by finishing 3rd and then Nathan finishing in P7, Verstappen has really closed it as well. So it's a fascinatingly close battle. I think it's safe to say, though, having missed tonight's races, that Rocco is out of the championship fight. So it's a 3-way battle with 2 rounds to go. 4 races between Campbell, Nathan, and Verstappen. Hope you enjoyed following along. Apologies for the interruption in the middle. Just blame Codemasters. Blame Codemasters of any of your troubles that you're facing in your daily lives. Very easy scapegoat. But yes, I hope you enjoyed following along. Hope you enjoyed the races. If you were taking part and following along, hope you are happy with your results. But I'm not sure who'll be commentating next week. Presumably we'll be back with RJ for some action at round 11 at Belgium. But if it does happen to be me, I'll see you then. If not, RJ will see you then. Thank you for tuning in. Congratulations to our winners, Ariel Giron and QVR Campbell and our podium finishes as well. And congratulations to Campbell for taking that big lead of the championship. But until next week, thank you for tuning in and goodbye.